Good morning. Here's the 2.2 notes for us to get copied down for today. So on the 2.1, I talked about displaying two categorical variables. Here I'm going to talk about displaying two quantitative variables. Come back to 2.1 tomorrow, just so we get ahead of the game here. So Unit 1 is focused on dot plots, histograms, stem leaf plots, box plots, and that was single variable quantitative. For two variable quantitative, the best way to display it is a scatter plot. Scatter plot shows values of one variable on the x-axis and one on the y-axis. Each individual in a data set is a point on the graph. Okay, and remember, every point is just an x, y, right? So each individual in the data set, again, who's being observed in this study, in this data, is an xy point. Like in 2.1, the x variable, let me scroll this down here. Like in 2.1, the x variable is the explanatory variable, and the y variable is the response variable. All right. X variable is the explanatory variable, the y variable is the response variable. Again, like in 2.1, explanatory variable, sort of your independent variable, response variable, sort of your dependent variable. Very interchangeable how we use those words there. All right, you have to read the word problem and distinguish between the two. Sometimes there doesn't appear to be a clear cut explanatory or response variable. No big deal. Just draw it up and label the axes, and that's not something to worry about. So, if there doesn't appear to be a clear cut, explanatory response variable, no big deal. All right, so there's four different ways that we can describe a scatter plot. Okay, if we go back to Unit 1, right, for Unit 1 with single variable, we had our shape, and we had our center, we had our variability, and we had outliers. All right, that was our Unit 1. Okay, Unit 2, we have direction, which would be a positive, negative, or no association. Okay, if we have a positive slope, all right, the trend goes upwards, positive association, negative slope, downward, negative association. All right. Next way to describe these, which should be form, and it could be linear or nonlinear. All right. Linear, which we know is a straight line. Okay. Nonlinear, that could be anything we looked at. We have some sort of a curve, and anything that y'all saw in Algebra 2 last year with quadratics or exponentials, anything that's nonlinear, that's more curved. Anything that's more curved would be consider nonlinear. A third thing, strength. Which can be weak, moderate, or strong. Okay, the stronger the association, the closer the points are to the identified form. And so, one way to sort of look at this, if it's stronger, the data I would say is tighter. All right. Last thing, number 4 is outliers, which are points that sort of fall outside the overall pattern of the relationship. So, if I have an outlier right here, just as an example, you don't need to draw this down if you need to, but here's our data set or whatever, and we have sort of all these points, maybe in a linear thing, kind of looking like this. Then we have a point way out there, right? This would sort of be an outlier. Because all these points are sort of fitting on this line right here nice and good, and something like that would be an outlier in a 2-variable set. Alright. So here, describe the relationships shown in the scatter plot. So again, describing the shapes, we have 4 things. So each of these we have a direction, form, strength, outliers, direction, form, strength, outliers. So take a minute, see if you could figure those out. And lastly, going to the bottom here. So more sugar, more calories. Is there a relationship between the amount of sugar in grams and the number of calories in movie theater candy? Here's data from 12 different types of candy. So what I want to do, go to Staplets, 2 quantitative variables. Think about which variable is which here. Think about which variable is which. Okay, shouldn't be too hard. Now place individuals in the same order. So if we go to the Staplets or whatever, so if we have to put our Butterfinger minis first. So if like we have 45 for our first explanatory variable, 450 needs to be our first response variable. If one, and then go from there. So basically, in one column we have to put all these in order like this, and the next thing we have to put them all in order like this. Alright, so again, we need to determine which is our explanatory variable, which is our response variable. Alright, and put them directly in order. That way, each individual becomes a point on that graph. If you have any questions while you're doing this in class, I'm more than happy to help you out. Alright, so you go to Staplets, 2 quantitative variables. Think about which variable's which. Place them in the same order, sketch your scatter plot, and describe using these 4 things. And that's all we got for 2.2. Let me know if you have any questions, and y'all have a good day.